Welcome back, everyone. Today we are going to talk about what are the various ways to express anger. And I did pull out some of the stats for all of you. So Americans, there was a survey done by NPR. So Americans say we are angrier than a generation ago. It was interesting to me. I can paste the source at the end of the session. So what is the cause? Why we are doing it. So I will show it the more data. But how do we deal with angry feelings? So there are three ways I'm listing here. We know one is aggressive way. We talked about it, which is very common. That's what even data is showing. Aggression is becoming more. The best way is to be assertive. We did talk about situations when kids are not listening to us. How do we do it? And sometimes we know even our boss, they can be aggressive, and we have experienced at workplace passive aggression is very common in a bigger forum meetings. So we will talk a bit more about that. And the other way, suppressive way, inside anger, which is not good at all, unexpressed anger. So there could be many reasons. There are cultural differences and stereotypes also, where, sometimes mothers, they don't express their anger. At even workplace, some people are not able to express that anger. So what they do is they keep it inside, and it is like a pressure cooker. Right, so if you're not venting out, you're bottling up, you're keeping within you. Later or sooner, it will, you will blast off, which is not good for your own health, for your relationship, and whomsoever you are getting angry with. So I was talking about what happens is when you are not able to express for whatever reasons, because of stereotype, cultural differences, or the position is you are talking to your boss and you are not able to express. I do hear from many women, especially whom I'm mentoring. Boss said something, they really felt angry, but they could not say, and later on they're repenting either for not expressing or repenting. If they said also something in return, why did they say so? So my advice to them is you need to be assertive, you need to be calm and stable, and you need to learn the art to deal with difficult people. And even within Cisco, there is even, I do know I attended one training, which I feel is a very powerful, and Dr. Leena also talked about that when we were having kids session. So if you're feeling hurt at any time because of any conversation, or you're working with difficult people, just say a word. That word is ouch. Ouch, it hurts. It will make other person aware of their language or their body language or their words, what they're using. And then maybe they will be more conscious or mindful and not do what they're doing. But never ever keep that anger within you. Even last time on Friday we were talking, is it healthy to cry? Because sometimes we do become emotional, women especially. So Dr. Leena was also recommending it's okay to cry through your eyes, but not have that suppression or anger within you, because that's more dangerous. Crying inside is more dangerous than crying out with your tears. So let's take a look. What is this aggressive way? What's the difference between which method do you use, and which one is better? So I did prepare something for you. So you might have observed people like who are very loud, bossy. They hijack the conversation during meetings. But assertive people, they will also speak, but they speak formally and direct. Aggressive people, they don't care about others' feelings. Assertive people, they take full responsibility of their own feelings and they don't blame others. this blame game is, we talked about that, it's vicious cycle. If you blame somebody, they blame you, then who will break that cycle? That blame game is not going to help anybody. So aggressive way, we react instantly without even thinking. We break rules. We know, like auto reply, what happens when out of office reply comes. It is just automatic response. Nobody's thinking, right? So it's just auto reply. So that's what aggressive people, they do. Generally, they react and they don't think about others' feelings. But assertive people, they will express their needs, but calmly and easily. So aggressive people, they think winning is everything. They don't want to lose that battle no matter what. Their ego is high. But assertive people, they will respect others and they expect the same. Treat others as they want to be treated. So do take a pause and ask yourself, what is your way of expression? Which way would you like? So I was thinking assertive people are heroes and aggressive people, I see them as villains. In a movie, you do see hero is hero. So whenever you are becoming aggressive, just bring that image. I don't want to be a villain. I want to be a hero. So here I was going to share this data when I said, aggression is becoming more. So this is the road rage stats. It's leading cause of accident. Over 1/3 of road rage causes involve firearms, which is very, very scary. And I have experienced myself also road rage. So I just generally tend to ignore, don't make eye contact. I don't want to, take it further. So, but these stats are telling us aggression is becoming more in our society, and we cannot again control others, but we can take care of our own self. We should not be going in that range. Dr. Leena shared various levels of anger. So we will talk about solutions. So Dr. Leena, I would request you to share more wisdom on this.
Thank you, Punam. So, we certainly know that there are certain behaviors that can trigger other person to get more angry, and we can kind of get into this cascade of I am upset, and so I'm going to make other person upset, and then that just escalates, the emotions at both the ends, and just initiates this vicious cycle of one getting mad and the other person madder, and so forth. So, it's good to remember to practice a few kind of things that you need to avoid in your interactions. Accusation without, full evidence or without full knowledge about it, or even there might be some basis for that, may not be a good thing to do when you're actually in the middle of an argument, because that actually can escalate the, the reactivity from the other person. Um, blaming other person for your reaction. You did this, that's why I did this. These are some of our like go-to defense mechanism or coping mechanisms that we resort to, like often, we to soothe our inner kind of ego or our, just inner self. We often use these commonly, we accuse other people, we blame other people, and then bringing up stuff or conflict from the past. So sometimes it might be that, this small argument that, triggered this big anger response from you may not be the main reason for why you are, being so angry. It might be some past experiences that might have been layered underneath. And so you may have not talked about it, processed it, forgiven that person maybe, or clarified what it was. So you're holding on to that resentment or conflict that you had with that person in the past. And then this time, all just it took was one small thing that could, lead to a bigger conflict and just a reactive response. And so, I think if we can, you know, avoid these things, and we, in the next slide we talk about what we can try instead, so others can understand, so we can understand each other better and prevent further conflict and further escalation of negative emotions. Then we can really find a way to resolve. There might be some genuine conflicts or certain things you need to sort through, but in the moment of an active argument, it's really important to refrain from, avoiding some of these things, is what research has showed us that can be beneficial for us to have that awareness that let's not, do, these things, instead try these things. So Poonam, can you bring up the next slide?
Sure, Dr. Leena. Before we move to the next slide, I really liked what you shared here. Nobody makes us angry. We do have a choice.
Mm,
If I choose to be angry, I can, and if I don't want to get angry, I do have a choice. So sometimes, as you said, we blame others. Other person is making me angry. No, other person cannot. He said or she said whatever she wanted to say or he wanted to say, but now it is your choice whether you want to get angry or not. So it's a very powerful belief system. We say others make us angry. So
mm.
that's what we learned over the time. Nobody can make me angry until I choose to get angry.
So, instead of doing those things that we talked about in the previous slide, let's think about how we can actually try these methods. And so, being really open and expressive of what particular, thing about the other person is bothering you. So, talking, about how that's making you feel in that moment. So I feel annoyed when you say this, or I feel really disrespected when you use that tone of voice, or I feel, so and so, because a lot of the times the person on the other side may not have that intention to actually hurt your feelings, or they may not even know that this could be a sensitive matter for you. So it's really important to let other person know, I feel so and so when you do this or when you say this. And like really defining the concrete behaviors or actions. What's annoying you about is it their body language? Is it their tone of the voice? Is it just like you know what they are choosing to say, what words they are using? I mean, it's really important to, when you use this "I feel" statement, I think it just gives the other person a check on, like, hey, wait a minute, somebody's telling me this particular way of my behavior doesn't work well for them, or it's upsetting to them. So, they can be, more mindful about, like, okay, let me take extra care to not do these things. And that can actually break the cycle, right? Like if lot of the times, in a kind of a conflict situation, the person may not have said much, but maybe it was their tone of the voice, maybe it was their body language, maybe it was maybe not something harsh they said, but how they said and what kind of went with that was something that the person was more sensitive about. um, and we all have our own sensitivities. Some people are more sensitive, others are more thick-skinned. And so I think it's important to respect that even though some things that you do may not seem like it's a big deal, but you need to bring into equation that other person is not same as you. They might be more sensitive, they might be more just emotional. And so giving them that that benefit for the doubt that, yeah, this is why, it's okay, it's not working for them, so let me try to, do something else. And then even proposing alternative behaviors, like, so I know you want to talk about this, but I'm really busy right now, I'm really tired right now, can we take a little break and come back when I have, more time for this? So those things can kind of what we call as de-escalate and just disempower the other person, because you're bringing in a compassionate way of interaction, you're bringing in some perspective thinking here that, hey, this is what's bothering me right now. It's also invoking empathy in other person, so that also disarms your heightened negative emotions, because you start to like feel like, oh yeah, maybe I could tone that down, or whatever the person is asking me for, that seems quite genuine. So i think um, these are just, I think, kind of behaviors to think about as you're like entering into a conflict, like more so in the beginning stage than like trying to do it when it's a little bit more out of the hands, when everybody's in their peak kind of emotional states, and then it's like hard to kind of revert back to any of these things. But it's something to be aware of. If you have a dynamic of relationship with a colleague or boss and you, or your child and you, whatever that dyad is in your relationships with others, if you know this particular relationship dyad is really where I kind of end up having a lot of conflict generally, so I'm going in prepared to make sure I'm going to avoid accusation, blaming, or whatever. I'm going to show some very calm, expressive way of how other person's behavior is making me feel, so we can de-escalate the situation there and then. And then, like I think Poonam was mentioning earlier, um, you like, where you may also let other person know, ouch, like, uh, that might be a subtle way to tell them that, oh, that hurt your feelings. You can also tell yourself to cool off by saying things like, chill out, let it go, forget about it, don't get carried away. So what usually happens is, when we are in the middle of an argument, we tend to actually have, like, we tell ourselves like, how come they did this, this is not the way they are showing respect to me. We usually tell thoughts or say things to ourselves that only potentiates the cycle. But let's try to kind of get to a cool down space, just like we talked about that anger thermometer. If I'm in that 8 to 10 zone, I'm just going to lose my rational thinking and any problem solving ability to resolve the conflict. But if I can cool myself, if I can bring down and let my emotional brain unhijack the logical brain, which is what happens when we kind of start to calm down. So I can certainly do breathing. I can also say things to myself that can cool me off. It's okay, you know. And and then this next one is also an important method where you can take a little bit of perspective taking. So think about a situation that makes you angry, uh, and it's the importance you've given to that on a rate of on a scale of 1 to 10. And then once you've done that, so like, say right now, I am angry with my daughter for not cleaning her room, and I'm saying I'm like 9 out of 10 angry about this. Like, I've told her over and again, but she keeps keeping her, she keeps her room messy all the time. So yes, I'm upset and I'm angry. But then, kind of one way to kind of also think about how really this should be upsetting to you is to like bring into perspective, okay, let me think about what's the most angriest moment I've had in my life. And at 10, that represents a 10, like 10 out of 10 importance. Okay, so I was really angry when, you know, whatever, when my I can't remember, just whatever that might be for you, right? So I was really angry when my said she's going to meet me for coffee at 4 o'clock, and I waited for her till 5 o'clock, and there was no update about where she was and whether we were going to meet or not. Something, I'm making up something. So maybe that was one of my most angry moment, that, oh, I didn't even hear about the cancellation of this event or whatever, but that I remember I was being very upset. Now think about the calmest moment in my life. So, oh yeah, when I sat near the beach, watching the waves, that was such a calming moment, and that was a 0. So now taking account of those two situations, so what does 0 feel like and what does 10 feel like? And compared to that, what I'm thinking on a scale of 1 to 10 for this current situation, does that really map onto that? That kind of, is this really 9 out of 10 that I'm so upset about my daughter not cleaning her room? Does it warrant a 9 number? Maybe I've lost that perspective of how 9 or 10 feels. And so when I take myself back to a moment which was really a very kind of a moment where I remember every time, that was a moment I lost it. Compared to that, this feels much less. So maybe I need to, you know, stop giving importance to this situation, which is making me drive so much of an emotional response. I hope it's making sense. Like, this is a nice way to bring in some perspective and de escalate yourself as a strategy.
Absolutely, Dr. Leena. I was thinking what happens is we always justify our own anger, and then our situation feels bigger and other situation feels smaller. So what I learned from you, like, be detached from your own situation and diffuse that. If we can prolong that situation, like by maybe taking deep breaths, drinking cool water, or the method you were saying, chill out, or doing that positive self-talk. And we did do that exercise also in that belief system check. We all want to be peaceful. We all want to be happy. We want our relationship to be good. Then anger has no place in our life. So whenever anger is coming to me, or I am getting angry, so I take a moment and I remind myself, is it really important for me to get angry at this time? Will it help me? Or I can just laugh it off, use humor sometimes, and I sometimes do walk away also from that situation or person. If other person is really angry, that time out, I give time out to myself, like, okay, I should not talk to this person right now because that person doesn't seem in good mood and may not understand my perspective, so I can always come back. So other ways of or steps I'm sharing is, so first is awareness. Turn towards your emotion. We talked about, the thoughts are the origin of our emotions. So it's very important to know what you're feeling right now. What are your emotions? And then identify and label your emotion, acknowledge it, accept your emotion. As I said, I do, if you remain peaceful for most of the day, if situation comes, if your frequency, your energy is changing, you can sense that disturbance, you can sense something is bothering you, you can label your emotion. See, like even anger, when you're going in that range, you can feel it. So if you don't feel it, you're always in that autopilot mode, then you can't help yourself. So that's the reason it's very important to do that inquiry, investigate sit with yourself, spend time with yourself, and then realize your true self, who you are. You are that peaceful being, you are that loveful being. So these frequent reminders will definitely help you to overcome. So this is the action plan for all of us, and we did do a good amount of discussion. Anger is a harmful emotion. Anger is my own creation, and it's my responsibility to finish. Again, I cannot ask other person not to get angry on me. Yet, as we learned, we can express ourselves. We can, maybe make other person aware of his behavior or her behavior, but other person is going to do what the other person wants to do. So I need to protect myself and I need to take responsibility of my emotion. So do pay attention to your situation when, what is the trigger for your anger. And we did learn most of the time it is expectations from others, and we do have that ego is getting hurt, and attachment, as I shared other day, you bought the new car, you're going on the road, you have BMW and somebody put a dent on it, you will get angry because you are attached. You just bought it. So even I feel anger is an accident, inner accident. Whenever I'm getting angry, I'm having that accident, and I'm disturbing myself and I'm having that dent on me. It's very important to identify our triggers and then work on it. And then again, belief system, is it working? Which belief system is harmful? So if it is necessary to change it. So we talked about just a minute after every hour, take 1 minute break. You can even do this during your water break, coffee break, bio break. What is happening inside you? And if there is a negative thought coming, you can stop that flow. How you do that? We did practice over the time, and if you give that positive affirmation to yourself, your negative flow will be broken. I am peaceful being. I am loveful being. So that's the way to stop that flow of negative thoughts. Learn to let go. I know we say it is easier said than done, but if you don't practice that, if you carry that past hurt, regret, grudges, it is going to harm yourself and your relationship. So forgive yourself and others. Remember, your original nature is love and peace. Start the day with positive information, with an attitude of appreciation. Practice at least 10 minutes of meditation every morning, and I'm going to share some of the resources you guys have asked, which are available within Cisco. And close your day with positive information. Clear your mind with few minutes of retrospection in the night, and feel good about your own behavior for your own wonderful day. If you are not getting angry throughout the day, that's awesome. And if you are having a peaceful day without any anger one day, then another day is also possible, then 1 week, month, and then there will be months and months. And whenever that's what happened to me over the time. Now, if I ask myself what was the last time I got angry, I don't even remember, because I love to remain in that peaceful and calm state. So this is a peace cycle. So when you sit with yourself, you do that introspection, you get clarity in your thoughts, you see that positive flow coming out of you, your relationships are beautiful, you are relaxed, so you feel like doing that more. So this is that we are developing that new habit of remaining peaceful, remaining calm. So here I'm sharing, anger spoils the beauty of the soul and silence regains it. So we need to sit in silence with our own self and see what's going on inside world. We do that outside world. We read so many news, but we never pay attention to our inner world. So forgiveness, I talked about that. It is not something we do for other people. We do it for ourselves. Why? To get well and move on. With that, Dr. Leena, I would request you to conduct that forgiveness meditation.
Sure, Punam. So I request everyone to take a minute to sit down in a comfortable position, if possible, with your spine erect or upright back. Now, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes or find a spot in front of you and have a downward gaze towards that neutral spot. Now, I would like to invite you to bring your awareness to your breath, breathing, breathing in and breathing out. Notice when you breathe in, your lungs expand like a balloon. And when you breathe out, deflates the air out and shrinks that balloon. Continuing to bring your awareness back to your breath if you're feeling distracted. Just breathing and resting, and resting and breathing. And once you settle down in that stillness and quietness, take a moment to look at your inner world, meet with your thoughts and feelings. Maybe you're thinking about this person who has hurt your feelings, or thinking about a time where you had a big argument with someone. And your perspective was that it was all because of them. As you're thinking through this event, you may feel some of the same emotions come back to you, that same emotional pain. Maybe something you're feeling right now. And the reason you're feeling that emotional pain to the same extent as it was when it first happened is because you haven't forgotten this incident or event or forgiven that person or yourself. Now take a second to look at the person who you're having difficulty forgiving. Think about them, if they have any positive aspects to them besides this one negative interaction that's triggered so much conflict and emotional pain for you. Think about, what is this person otherwise like? Are there positive attributes to their personality? Do you remember any positive interactions with them? And as those memories start to emerge, ask yourself, is this person truly the one you think he is or she is? Often we make one impression based on one negative interaction and we go by that, and it negates all the positive attributes of that person. So, taking a moment to bring into perspective the whole person and thinking about all the positive qualities of them and questioning your particular intention, which is whether to forgive this person or not. It's important to remember that everyone has their qualities and their flaws or strengths or weaknesses. And looking at the whole person gives us an ability to bring in compassion and empathy and kindness towards others. And when we use those positive qualities of us as humans, being compassionate and kind, we can put ourselves in other person's shoes and look at the situation from their perspective. This is known as empathy. And when I try to look at the situation from their side, I start to get a bigger perspective. Maybe they were having a bad day that day. They were going through a lot of stress in their life, or they just made a mistake and lost it. Choosing to forgive them, not just for getting a closure, but to take care of my inner well being. Once I forgive them, I'm relieved, and that emotional pain can disappear. So, taking a minute to take a pause and introspecting different things that are making you angry towards the other person and making you unable to forgive them can be of a huge help to take that final step, forgive and forget. In a moment, I'm going to ring the tone bar. And when you no longer can hear the sound produced by this tone bar or the sound bowl, bring yourself back into the room and gently open your eyes if you close them.